Today I'm making retro 90s tech signs. Along the way, I'll show you where I got the designs, how I successfully V-carved pine, and the single toolpath I used to bring this project to life. You're going to want to stick around to the end of the video where I tell you exactly where to get these files that I used completely free. So I'm really excited about this workflow. Using Kittl, I went through and I found a bunch of 90s inspired tech photos. And then I took them in to an artboard here in Kittl. So let me go back and do this from scratch just to show you this workflow because this is super powerful. Okay, so let's just go to Google, go to Kittl. Okay, so this is the screen that you land on when you log into Kittl. In the last video that I did I redesigned my Pokemon project, my Charizard project, I used AI. That's cool, you can do that totally, but I don't want to rely on describing this one and generating with AI. What I want to do is rely on Kittl's world-class designers that they have thousands of different designs already, graphics, illustrations, anything you can imagine. So I'm going to go over here to graphics, and up here in the search bar, I'm going to type 90s tech. And since we're using a V-carve, a photo V-carve, that's where I want to be. I want to look for photos. So I came in here and found different inspiration. We can do, I mean, this is cool. I could use any one of these photos of the Game Boy. But let's go something more specific. 90s, let's say phone. So here's all different kinds of 90s phones. And I remember my first cell phone wasn't in the 90s. It was actually in the 2000s, but this came out in the 90s. It was this Nokia phone like this. So let's say we want to use that. Let's just click use photo. We'll open a new project just because. All right, and it brings it to my artboard here. Now there's tons of options that you can do in here. Completely edit all of this, remove background, all of it. You can resize it. So I'm just going to fill. I like that. I could crop, I could move, I could remix, I could do anything. But what I'm going to do is quick export this the way it is. PNG image, export. And then we're going to click import bitmap. Boom, here it is. I've got my parameters that I've kind of already worked out that work well. And I'm using a 60-degree V-bit with these settings. Click calculate. All right, now let's hit preview all toolpaths or preview the toolpath and look at this. Boom. If you zoom in, so you can see there's the V-bit, how it's going to do it. It controls the depth and gives us a picture we just 30 seconds ago had on the internet, and this can be done with any picture, but now we can carve it in wood and we can make a really cool art piece from it. And we can mess with the fill color to kind of look super cool. I'm really liking that. That's really neat. So it's really easy to find a design for a specific situation or client and make something custom for that. So let's go do that now. All right, so material. I chose to go with pine for this, which you may be like, Andy, you're crazy. That's not going to work. You may be right. But here's my reasoning and my strategy. Pine is easily accessible, right? I'm trying to make these as cheap as possible. So the prerequisites for this, like what we need is we need a light material. That way we can build in some contrast, right? We can add color to it and add a darker color to it and get some contrast. So our options are poplar, maple, oak, things like that. The problem with those, not the problem is, but one of the difficult parts is getting a panel that's wide enough, right? Because then you have to glue it up. It's more expensive. You have to plane it down. So if we can make pine work, since we're gonna paint it anyways, I don't like to paint hardwoods. So if I can make this work. Now, pine is notorious for blowing out and not carving well, especially V-carving. So one thing that I've already done is I went ahead and I sealed, let's say, with a clear coat. I used polyurethane to seal this, mainly because I don't want the paint seeping later, but also to kind of stabilize those fibers, right? To kind of give it something to soak in and solidify it. So I'm hoping that reduces chip out. Now I just need to cut it to my length and I'm carving. Let me share my recipe with you here. I view this as a recipe. A machine, bit, materials, tool paths, all of the above. So work holding, we're going to start there. Because we are machining the entire face of our wood, I'm using double-sided tape. It's not my favorite. I would typically use screws, but there's a couple reasons I'm okay with using double-sided tape. One, this is a very low impact tool path, meaning there is not a lot of force being applied. We're cutting so shallow. So double-sided tape, I have every confidence in its ability. And then the main one, though, is that we can't have anything on the face. So if we use clamps on the face, they would get in the way of our tool path. If we use screws, it would put holes in the front of our workpiece, and we don't want that. So this is a nice clean way. So this is the sweet spot for double-sided tape. It really thrives well here. We're on the Shapeoko 5 Pro 2x2. Some people may be wondering what machine I'm using. That's a machine I'm using. Honestly, any machine can do a photo V-carve. It really comes down to the software. So that's work holding. That's part of our recipe. But this bit right here is the secret to getting great results V-carving pine. And this is the downshear 60-degree V-groove bit from Cadence Manufacturing. Our friend Cody, creator of the Jenny bits. And so this is a downshear V-bit, meaning it's pushing fibers downward. Typically a V-bit is a straight blade where it's just hitting it straight and there's no action, no cutting, no spiral action at all. Where here you are getting that downshear action. So there's a little bit of a spiral and it's cutting that and pushing it downwards. That's important because one, it reduces chip out on V-carves. Two, it reduces the amount of fuzzies on a V-carve. And that is vital to be able to do this on pine. This is proof that you can V-carve pine successfully and maybe not get absolute 100% flawless results, but you can get acceptable results with the right recipe. All right, so this is my final one, and I think I've got the finishing process, the whole process dialed in now. And you should definitely do this outside for a lot of reasons. You're sanding paint. I even wear a mask.
And it takes a lot of sandpaper. I'm actually going through like 5 sheets of sandpaper when I'm doing this because it gums up everything. And it's really important that you let it cure. So I would say spray paint it, let it wait for 24 hours, and then sand it. It also helps getting the dust off there that you're creating because it likes to sit in these grooves. But this is the cool part. It's the reveal part. And I'm just using random orbital sander and just keep it nice and even. I'm really excited to see this final result on this one because I think I've got the whole process dialed in now. All right, so that was 2 passes over everything. Kind of see it's starting to come off, the paint's starting to come off. Now the goal here is that we are sanding all the paint as much as we can off from the face and leaving what's in the lines. That's how it works. One thing that I'm finding is adding that extra clear coat step before this. So I clear coated the wood, carved it, cleaned it up, like got all the fuzzies and stuff out, clear coated it again, let it dry, spray painted it, and now I am removing the paint, and it is coming off much better, much easier than not clear coating it right before this. Okay, so let's dust this off, and then I'm going to switch out sandpaper, using 120 grit, by the way. All right, so I got it pretty well cleaned up, and you can see paint stayed in, and then where there are no lines, you can see some of these faint lines. Some of it gets sanded out, but honestly it adds to the look, kind of the shading, and there is what we're left with. Pretty cool. The next step is to get a frame on these and hang them. Aha! Yes! I am super pumped on how these turned out. These are so cool. If you want to make these exact ones, I'll give you the Vectric files that I used for free. Now, I don't have any other file types, just the Vectric files that I used. You can find them down in the description below. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just 4 images that I used from Kittle. Kittle has thousands of different designs, and so I encourage you to leverage Kittle's graphic designers. They're world-class graphic designers, whether it's raster images like this, photographs, or it's vector images, or using their AI tools to develop your own. Literally, it is like a CNCer's paradise when it comes to design assets. So be sure to check out Kittle with a link in the description below as well. If you haven't watched the last video I did with Kittle, where I used their AI tools to redesign my Charizard project, be sure to check that out. If you're still watching at this point in the video, thank you so much. You are one of the biggest supporters of ANDYBIRD Builds and what we do, and we want to keep supplying you with value. And when you like this video, when you watch till the end, we notice those things, and it keeps us going and creating content that you enjoy. So I just want to say thank you, and that we see you, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.